everyone again and welcome to our new episode of Fantarise. Today we are taking you to Europe, to Portugal for a deep dive into its blue innovation ecosystem, one of the most promising and forward-looking ecosystems in the maritime and sustainable innovation. If you are curious about opportunities in the blue economy, sustainability, maritime innovation, or how countries are building strong innovation systems around their natural resource, then this session is definitely for you. If you are curious about opportunities in the blue economy, sustainability, like I mentioned before, then this session is for you. We are very happy to have such an engaged community with us today. Thank you once again for joining us, and feel free to turn on your camera if possible. It always makes the session more interactive. And don't hesitate to drop your questions in the chat box. Our guest will answer them at the end of the session. Now, let's get to know our special guest. It's my great pleasure to introduce Mr. Gonçalo Faria, who is joining us today. He is the lead manager of Hub Azul Portugal at Fórum Oceano. He holds a degree in economics and an international MBA and has built strong expertise at the intersection of innovation, sustainability, and the blue economy. He has led business development in collaborative innovation constancy, working across sectors such as the blue economy, sustainability, and smart cities and tourism. He also served as program director of the Blue Tech Accelerator, an open innovation program developed in collaboration with the Portuguese Ministry of the Sea and the Director General for Maritime Policy, aimed at accelerating innovation in ports and maritime logistics. In addition, he contributed to the early development team of the European project ASPBAN, the Atlantic Smart Ports Blue Acceleration Network, supporting innovation and collaboration across the Atlantic region. With this rich experience across ecosystems, building acceleration programs, and international collaboration, he brings a unique perspective on how innovation in the blue economy can be scaled and structured. Mr. Gonçalo, we are truly honored to have you with us today. Thank you again for accepting our invitation. And without further ado, the floor is yours. You can share your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the kind words of presenting me, and thank you for inviting me to talk to you today. It's an honor. We have been at Fórum Oceano collaborating with Leancubator for I think a couple years in a funded project, and it's very nice to be here talking to you and some familiar faces or names that I see in the chats. Hi, Nesrin. So it's my pleasure to be here. So let me try and share my screen. We tested this before, so I'm sure it's going to work fine. And so let's see. So yes. I believe you can see my screen.
Yes.
Very well.
Yes, we can.
So let's be the next 35-40 minutes together and for you listening to my voice and explaining what is the blue economy ecosystem in Portugal. And first of all, so I'm Gonçalo Faria. As Shaima said, I'm the lead manager of Hub Azul. Hub Azul is a project. I'm going to explain in depth what that project is, but I work for Fórum Oceano. And let me start there. What is Fórum Oceano? So we are the Portuguese Blue Economy Cluster. We are a not-for-profit association, a private entity that we have been recognized by the Portuguese government as the entity that manages this cluster according to the European cluster regulation. And we have, right now, it's 185 members. I think most of them are companies, and we represent a big part of what is the blue economy ecosystem and market in Portugal in many different subsectors or value chains. And for that, we follow what is the European Commission taxonomy or division of sectors for the innovation in the blue economy space. So they have defined the 10 subsectors that you can see in the screen, from blue biotechnology, fisheries, shipbuilding and refit, water management, etc., etc. So we have we deal with all of these many different sectors. So it is a very busy day always for us, with many different things and many different markets every day. In terms of the management, so as an association, we have a board of directors that comes from the different members of the association. We have 9 directors. They all are part of the companies or the entities that are our members. But we also have an executive team that is comprised of around 20 people that are day-to-day doing this work of promoting the ecosystem in Portugal. We are also part of the European Network of Maritime Clusters, and we hold one of the vice presidencies of this association. We're also part of Blue Invest. It's a European Commission platform for investment, for the promotion of investment in blue economy innovation. And we have been recently granted the status of ecosystem partner of 1000 Ocean Startups. It's an initiative from the World Economic Forum. And this, I would say, is very much the consequence of a lot of the work that we have been doing in developing the innovation ecosystem in Portugal that I'm going to explain in the next few minutes. So for you to have an idea, these is our members, so many different, from companies to investment funds to R&D centers, associations, to universities, municipalities, etc. So a very, very wide array of associates from many different areas. So very a lot of fun every day dealing with all of these entities and people. So, but let me dive a little bit deeper. So Fórum Oceano, as an association, we manage a series of projects. And one of our flagship projects, especially when we talk about the innovation ecosystem, which is what we're talking here today, is Hub Azul. And what is this project? So this is a European funded project. It is in total close to 70 million euros from what is the recovery and resilience plan. So the funding that the European Commission gave to the different countries after the pandemic. And in this funding, the main goal is to create or set up 6 innovation centers in Portugal mainland and 1 school. So all of these innovation centers are located in the mainland coast of Portugal. We also have similar entities that are being created in the autonomous regions of Madeira and the Azores. And by the way that the funding instruments are defined in Portugal, we have 1 funding instrument for mainland and funding instruments for these autonomous regions. So that's why they're not all aggregated in these projects, but there are similar projects in the autonomous region that will be part of the network in the future. So all of these different innovation hubs, they are located in port areas, either commercial ports or fishing ports, and they all have somewhat a close access to water, which is very, very important to test anything related with blue economy. And they're all very different among themselves, and I'm going to explain a little bit about some of them. What we are doing at Fórum Oceano is we are building the network of all of these different innovation hubs, of all of these different equipments and infrastructures, so that they can work in synergies, finding complementarities, and gaining scale so that we can more easily cater to international markets, to larger clients, or more complex projects. So part of our work is to design what is the business model of the network, the governance model of the network, and all of the different activities of communication, internationalization, and promotion of the innovation ecosystem. Going a little bit in detail of what these different hubs are, and I'm not going to talk specifically about all of them, but in general, what type of hubs and infrastructures we're talking about. So we have from on the top left, what is an ocean basin. It's the largest infrastructure of the network. It is let's call it a very large swimming pool, a 60-meter by 30-meter with 10-meter depths and the central well of 30 meters, pardon me, with currents and waves. So it's a very large infrastructure to test any offshore technology that needs to be tested before going into the open ocean. So this can be from large robotics to aquaculture cages to floating offshore wind platforms to any other type of technology that works offshore but needs to do a final test still under controlled conditions. We also have on the bottom left a biobank. It's a bank to store biologic samples. This one is focused on algae and seaweed, so low trophic species. And it will be part of another project which is a national network of biobanks, because other biobanks are being created. So there's another project linking all of these resources together. Also, bottom, you have a research vessel. It is not the full vessel. Part of this investment was the refurbishment and sensorization of our hydrographic vessel from our weather and ocean agency. So this will also be part of the equipments that will be available for the network to use. Also, we have an international center for maritime safety. It's basically an infrastructure to train and capacitate people and teams and companies in maritime safety. Also, going to the right, we have a smaller test tank. It's a 5 by 5 by 5, so much smaller than the other one. The first one is with fresh water. This one is with salt water. So you can test the salinity and the effect of salinity in your technologies. It's more catered for smaller robotics. But it will have a very interesting capability, which is to test for acoustic testing, which is not there are not many infrastructures that, especially civilian infrastructures that have these capabilities. And also we have on the top right a command and control center for unmanned missions, basically a center where you can coordinate underwater, surface, or air autonomous vessels for drones, ROVs, AUVs, etc. So in this center, you can control and command and control all of these different vessels. And in the top center, we have quite a few different, what I call them typical innovation hubs, the typical startup hub with shared office space, shared labs, typically with part of these are wet labs for either blue biotechnology or aquaculture or innovation in the seafood processing value chain. So with very specific conditions of access to salt water, access to shared equipment, etc., etc. So this is an idea of the types of infrastructures and equipment that will be parts of the network. Talking a little bit about the work that we are doing at Fórum Oceano, building let's call it the top layer or the aggregation part of this network. So we designed a portfolio of services for the network. And these services cater both to the different hubs, but also to third parties and to the market. I'd say more interesting for you is the left-hand column, what we call the value creation services. We'll talk about these in a little bit more detail, but the idea here is to create a set of services and initiatives to promote the innovation and the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Portugal. Also, we started the project roughly 3.5 years ago. And we started by creating our digital footprint. So we started by creating this ecosystem platform for the blue economy innovation and investment space. It's called Hub Azul Deal Room. You can access it through that QR code. There's also an access through our website at Hub Azul, also through the Fórum Oceano website. You can access it. It's a free use platform. And basically, it is a platform that maps and aggregates the whole, the global ecosystem of mostly startups and investors in the blue economy space. We started by mapping 3 years ago around 700 startups. Now we are close to 4,000. So it has been a very active effort on our side to map different ecosystems. We've also worked with Leancubator and the project Portugal Blue that we're doing together, mapping the Maghreb ecosystem and including that in the platform. So we have been doing that very actively with many ecosystems. So this is an idea of the different views that you can get in the platform. There's also, so there's a division by subsectors. You have list of startups. You can enter and see a description of each startup. But more than that, the most interesting thing that we have found is this is a very, very interesting platform to understand trends in the ecosystem, either new technologies, new areas of investments, what is the happening in a specific sector? Is it attracting more investment, and what specific technologies are attracting that investment? Which area are the startups developing more? So in terms of let's call it sector intelligence, it's a very, very interesting platform. And we have been using those insights to create pieces of thought leadership. And these are two of the main ones that we have that we are working with. So on the left, you have what is the Blue Economy Guide. This is a full-fledged report with all of the data from the platform. It's a yearly report, so you can have a very complete idea of what is happening in the global ecosystem of blue economy. On the right-hand side, it's a report that we are issuing quarterly based on the trends and the numbers from the last quarter. So it's a very short-term analysis, and that keeps you informed of what are the recent developments in terms of blue economy. And we also do it. We also have a deep dive in a specific sector on each of these reports. So we also get a little bit more in-depth analysis of a specific sector. And you can access those two reports on the links on the bottom. I'll send the presentation, so you don't need to take pictures or take notes. So you can access these later. Also, we have created other pieces of thought leadership, so articles based on data and facts. We've partnered with the different experts from the different entities of the network so that we start creating a base of knowledge that is shared by the network and that is available for the world and the ecosystem. Also, we started aggregating what are the different infrastructures and equipments and experts from all of the different hubs of the network in a single catalog. So we started by aquaculture, which is the sector that is, I'd say, more represented in the network. So we aggregated all of the different infrastructures, equipments, and services that the different entities provide so that we can have, let's call it, a common market-facing instrument to promote the network in the market. So this has been a very interesting piece that we have communicated very much, and we're going to work on creating similar catalogs to other sectors. Now, going back a little bit, and I would say this is probably one of the most interesting parts for you, which is what we are doing at the Hub Azul network for developing the blue economy ecosystem in Portugal. So we decided to have a structured approach and the framework to develop that ecosystem. And we created this framework that is divided in 4 different steps or different initiatives. And I'll talk about each one of them separately. So talking about first the innovation challenges. For us, this is the basis of everything because we want this network and these innovation hubs to be working for real challenges that come from the market and that comes from companies that have innovation problems. So we did a very in-depth work of identifying these innovation challenges in our ecosystem. So we did in-depth interviews, we did a lot of workshops, online surveys, etc. We identified close to 900 different individual innovation challenges. We aggregated those challenges, we prioritized them, and we decided to work on a complete description of 45 innovation challenges that they're already complete, and we're going to launch them next week. So this is going to be let's call it, it's going to be a report that we're going to launch next week, but more than a report, we want this to be material for innovators, for R&D centers, for founders to use in developing innovative solutions for what the market needs in terms of blue economy. This is very much a representation of the Portuguese ecosystem, but I would say that it's not too different from what is the European ecosystem in general. Obviously, each country has its specificities, but I would say in general, this is very much representative of the innovation challenges in Europe. So this will be available online. Anyone can look at these challenges. There's identification of stakeholders that are interested in this challenge. So you can find your clients also in the document. And more than that, we are the other initiatives that I showed you on the framework are also some of them based on these innovation challenges, though they're acting already on these. So the first one are the ideation workshops. Uh, so we designed a series of ideation workshops that are based on these challenges that we identified. We already had 3. We have a few more coming in the next few weeks, months. They're always presential. So they're always local and they always activate, let's call it the local ecosystem. It's a very interesting tool to create linkages and to create collaboration potential within a territorial local ecosystem. We choose specific challenges to work on each workshop depending on what the local ecosystem context is. So, for example, in Peniche, it's a very much a fishing area. So very much the challenges will be on the seafood value chain space. For example, you have here on the left the whitish ecosystem. It's very much focused on ocean observation and monitoring. So each one of these workshops is customized according to the location and the content of that specific local ecosystem. The next one, and this is not very much, so let me skip one and I'll come back to this. So the next one is an acceleration initiative. It is for those that are very picky and that know very much about innovation and acceleration. This is very much a mix of innovation and open of acceleration and open innovation. So it's and it was from the beginning an exploratory space. So we decided and we knew we wanted to work with startups. We knew we wanted to bring in companies to work with the startups. So but we didn't know exactly what was the structure of this initiative. But now we are in the middle of it, and we have come up with a structure that is working. So we are working with a smaller set of the different innovation hubs. So we're working with 4 of the innovation hubs. They selected specific innovation challenges that are relevant for their work. So we're working with the 7 challenges that you have on the right. We also looked for companies or entities from these 4 innovation hubs ecosystem that were relevant for these challenges or had these different innovation challenges. And we launched a call for startups, and now we selected 17 startups that have solutions that are in the space of these different innovation challenges. So this is a triangle of a company with a challenge, a startup with a solution, and an innovation hub with infrastructure, equipment, and services to test innovation and solutions. So we believe this framework is going to be interesting to accelerate the piloting and testing of these different solutions and the implementation of these solutions in the different companies that are part of the program. Going back, and I jumped this because this initiative is not necessarily linked with the innovation challenges. We also decided to create what we called a venture building initiative. The idea here is a little bit the reverse. It is to work with the different universities and R&D centers that are part of the network, identify innovation projects or IP, intellectual property, from these different entities, identify the one that has more commercial potential, and work on the initial stages of creating a commercial project from that IP. It is, I would say, one of the large project problems that we have, not only in Portugal. I would say it's European-wide problem. It is to create that technology transfer from R&D or from academia into the market, uh, especially when we're talking about spin-offs. The licensing of technology is a process that kind of works. If you start talking about spin-offs, the incentives of our R&D centers and academia are not very much aligned for this. And this is an issue, and that's why we created this initiative to mitigate. It's not going to completely solve it, but to mitigate part of the issues of these steps. Also, for those that are a little bit more picky and that know more about this space, what we designed was an initiative, a project that always needs to have IP and the person. We cannot detach those. So we need always to have an innovation project with either a researcher or a research team. There are other types of initiatives in this space that can separate the two. That can either do capacitation or training for researchers in entrepreneurship, for example, or that can work only with the IP and not necessarily with the research team, and they go and look for an entrepreneur in residence to develop that venture. We decided to test this model of always having the two together, the IP and the team or the researcher. And we just started last week with the startup studio component of this project. We have right now 12 R&D teams with us, and it will end in mid-June. This one and the accelerator, they end at the same time. So we're very anxious to and very excited about the results of these. So we talked about this. So just finalizing about what Hub Azul project is. We are creating a digital ecosystem for the project or for the network. I've talked about Hub Azul Deal Room, but there are other two pieces of digital platforms that we are creating right now to complement these. One is, the bottom one is a marketplace for all of the different infrastructures, equipments, and services of the network. This will be available and online probably in a couple weeks. It is being finalized right now. And the idea is to have, let's call it a one-stop shop of everything that the different hubs have to offer. So I would say this is a different way of presenting and selling what are innovation and testing infrastructures and equipment. And we believe that this will be very useful for all of the innovators and the users of this innovation ecosystem to much more easily find anything that they need for their development and testing phase. The other one is an open innovation platform where we will host all of the different innovation challenges that I mentioned before. And these will be open to the world. so that anyone can collaborate on developing solutions for the different challenges that are uploaded in the platform. Those 45 and other that will either be developed and identified by our team or organically suggested by the market. So this is the idea, is to create this platform so that it can more easily promote the innovation ecosystem around this blue economy space. So this was an overview of what we are doing at the Azul project. That's my day-to-day work for the past 3 years. So I think you get an idea of what we have, what we are doing. We are all of these different infrastructures and what I presented. We are still in, let's call it, project phase. The project will end in June. So during the summer, all of the different hubs will be operational. They are being built as we speak. So second semester, all of these things will be operational and will be happening not as a project, but as a network of different entities that will be operating in this space. But let me go a little bit more broad and let me talk about what is the Portuguese blue economy ecosystem outside of what is Fórum Oceano or what is the Hub Azul project. And for this, let me use data from that platform, that ecosystem platform that I showed before, so Hub Azul Deal Room. And this is a again, a very interesting platform to understand insights and understand what is happening in the market. So looking at the Portuguese market and looking at the Portuguese blue economy ecosystem, you can see on this graph that we can see basically an explosion of the market, of the ecosystem from 2020 to now. The numbers that you see is in enterprise value of companies. So the valuations, there's a noise. I think okay, it just muted. So this is the valuation of companies after their investment rounds. So basically what we can see is from 2020 to 2025, there was a 34 times growth in the ecosystem. These represents 96 startups that has a market value of 47 million in 2020, and in 2025 had a 1.6 billion euro market value. So a lot of this value is concentrated in one specific startup. It's called TechEver. If you look on the right hand, you have a list of the startups. So the first one, so the market value of that company in 2025, so at the end of last year, was 1.2 billion. It's the first blue unicorn in Portugal. It's basically a company that is developing drone and autonomous technology. And with, I would say, the current geopolitical situation, they were in the right space at the right time. So they grew very much, very quickly. But even if you remove this company, you have almost a 10 times growth in the ecosystem. So from 47 million to 400 million euros in 5 years. And this, you can see the main companies, the largest companies on the right, and you have companies from aquaculture, renewables, blue biotech, blue tech robotics, so different types of subsectors that are driving this growth. But there is one thing that is mostly in common, or a common ground on most of these companies, is that mostly they were invested by VCs, private VCs, and from the European Investment Fund. So the investment ecosystem in Portugal was very much one of the main drivers of this fast growth. And why did this happen? So let me explain you how we sort of jump-started this ecosystem. So in 2020, the Portuguese government, in collaboration with EIF, the European Investment Fund, decided to create an instrument called Portugal Blue. It is basically a fund of funds. So this Portugal Blue does not invest directly in companies or in startups. They invest in funds. And the funding for these instruments, it came half of it, 25 million from the European Investment Fund, and half of it from what was called IFD at the time, and it's now called Banco de Fomento, so the Portuguese Development Bank. So each of these two partners funded these instruments with 25 million. And the idea was that this instrument was going to fund new VC funds that dedicated to investing in blue economy, up to 70%. So each fund always needed to have an additional 30% of private capital that they would need to raise in the market in private LPs. So it was a catalytic fund, let's call it, to bring in additional funds to the ecosystem. And more than that, and this is a particularity of EIF funds, so EIF has a very strict impact investment policy. So basically, any of the funds that are funded by this Portugal Blue instrument, they need to follow the impact investment framework from EIF. So this is a way to multiply impact effect from, let's call it, a 25 million investment from the EIF. So there's a very much a trickle-down effect of these 25 million that's transformed itself in, I think the total is 70 to 80 million of funds in Portugal that are investing in this space. So the capital of this fund, so the 50 million in total, it was deployed in two funds. And we're going to talk about them afterwards. So one is Faber Blue Pioneers Fund, and the other one is the Growth Blue One Fund. So Faber is more the typical VC funds working in, let's say, more early stage. Growth Blue is a more almost close to private equity, so more on the growth side of things. And this was one of the main drivers of, let's go back to the last slide, of this very fast growth of the ecosystem. So suddenly you had VC funds that had available investment that was de-risked because there was part of it was with public funds, and that had a mandate to invest in the blue economy space. So suddenly you had a lot of a lot of capital that would need to be deployed within the next years in this space. So suddenly you see a lot of companies growing very, very, very much. And so I would say so the 25 million from the Portuguese government, that was the investment that they make, suddenly was transformed in 400 million in market valuation of the ecosystem in Portugal. So I would say it was an interesting deal if you look at it five years later. but let's look at more the wider ecosystem. So in terms of investors and accelerators, so we've seen a couple of the Portuguese ones that you can see on the top left. There's a third one acting in the blue economy space in Portugal. It's called Indico, from Indico Capital Partners. Indico Blue Fund is their fund that is investing specifically in blue economy. They were not invested by Portugal Blue, but I would say they were created around the same time, and they were very much inspired by that. And they are, I would say, one of the together with Faber and Growth, very active in the ecosystem. But more than these three, we have quite a lot of international investors, specifically European based, but not only. But a lot of the international investment community is very much and very actively looking into Portugal and investing in Portuguese startups and ventures. So these four are just examples. You have other VC funds and other investors that are looking into the Portuguese ecosystem and investing actively in it. And I would say this is also a proof of the interests and maturity of the ecosystem, that we're able to attract foreign capital to our ecosystem. Also, part of these growths are some of the accelerators that have been created or have been acting in the last few years. Blue Bio Value, an accelerator there, is very much focused on the bioeconomy space, from aquaculture and blue biotech. Also, the Blue Tech Accelerator, there was an earlier version in 2019 that was developed specific for ports and shipping sector. And there's a new version of this accelerator that is a little bit more widespread and with verticals in different subsectors, and is collaborating with Fórum Oceano in a different project that we are managing, called Portugal Blue Digital Hub. And the Hub Azul acceleration, I would say, has not yet contributed to the ecosystem, but it's right now an active part of it. And I would say, more than the investors and the accelerators, there's a wider network of initiatives or players that have been crucial in the development of this ecosystem, starting with Hub Azul that I extensively explained to you before. We have Portugal Blue Digital Hub. It's also another project by Fórum Oceano to promote the digitalization in this blue space. Martech, which is the similar project to Hub Azul, but in the Azores autonomous regions. We have created free tech zones, so areas in the territory where you can test technology with very little red tape. And we have created a few of those in the maritime space. And these have been very interesting in fast-tracking testing and fast-tracking innovation. Also, we have a few test beds in this blue space. We also have an initiative from the Hydrographic Institute from the Portuguese Navy called Sensor Tech. It's an innovation hub also, but for sensorization and for hydrography. Also, we have an entrepreneurship agency in Portugal called Startup Portugal that issues a lot of funding and initiatives to promote the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Portugal. So all of these together somewhat contribute to development of the blue innovation ecosystem in Portugal. So just to finalize, I brought you a couple of examples of startups. let's talk about three, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on neither of those, because one, I'm not their business developer, and I'm not fully knowledgeable of what they do, but I have an idea, and I can share with you a little bit of what they do and a little bit why they can be relevant for the Portuguese ecosystem. So let's start, and let me share other presentation so that I can find. So, okay, so I think you can see my screen. If you cannot see my screen, scream, but I believe you can. So basically, Scientia, they are a science-based aquaculture company that was founded in 2017.
Sorry, sir, but we
Yes,
can't see your screen. It's not
you
shared.
cannot see my screen. So
Yes.
wait. So let me do it again. Again. Should see my screen.
Yes, thank you.
Can you see it? Can you see it now?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. So, Scientia, they were founded in 2017, a science-based aquaculture company. Their core technology is what is called RAS, Recirculating Aquaculture System. So basically, a highly controlled indoor farming method that filters and recirculates water. And so we don't need open sea cages and all the technologies and all of the difficulties of working on offshore aquaculture. They chose a very specific fish. It's called in Portuguese curvina, in English it's migor. It is a premium species that is very popular in Southern European cuisine. It's very rich in omega-3, and it's more interestingly, it has a very strong market price, but it had not been done before in aquaculture at the commercial scale. So they decided to try and understand how to grow and how to do aquaculture for this species in a closed system. So basically, their system, they guarantee quality, they guarantee biosecurity, environmental protection, and traceability of what they produce. So they started as a research-driven venture, mostly leaning from their founders' background in biology, ecology, and chemistry, and they started by creating a pilot project in Peniche. It was created in 2021. And let me show you. So this is their facilities, and this is an idea of what their pilot project is. And they tested many different technologies, that this became the backbone of everything. So they identified operational risks, cultivation protocols, new technologies, new methodologies, and how the fish behaved, what was the nutritional profile of the fish, depending on many different factors. They also tested with local chefs and local restaurants in terms of taste, in terms of the composition of the fish. And so they created this technology that basically are now going to a commercial production phase. And they just secured 16 million funding to build this commercial farm in Peniche. It is a funding that brings in together a private partner and also public funding. So this mix of, let's call it, smart money and institutional funding is very much a hallmark of how the Portuguese blue economy startups are typically structured. So partly have grants or public funded projects to fund the R&D, but also you bring in some private equity and private capital. So second one, let me try and share you the other company, and let me try and do this quickly. Stop sharing. Okay, I think you're seeing my screen. Let me put full screen. Okay. So next one is Inclita Seaweed Solutions. And let me just give me a second here. So Inclita, basically, they develop seaweed-based ingredients for sustainable brands, mostly in the cosmetics and personal care sector, but they're also working for the nutraceuticals, pet care, foods, and biostimulants. They are originally from CIMAR. It is an R&D center in the north of Portugal and also part of the Azul network. They were created in 2018 as the first spin-off of CIMAR. And in 2019, they established the company, set up their labs in Porto. In 2023, they secured venture capital from the Recovery and Resilience Plan to expand the team and to broaden to different products and industries. And in 2025, or 2026, they inaugurated the new pilot plant that's actually they're moving to as we speak. So they combined, again, two funding streams. So the first one was venture capital. They had a capital round in 23 that gave the company a runway to scale the team and diversify the product portfolio. The other one was they got funding from the Portuguese Recovery and Resilience Plan, which was very much linked with creating this research infrastructure and the innovation capacity. So let me go to the next one and final one, because we're very much out of time. And let me just share a video, because this is the most interesting part. 1 second so that I can find the window. Okay, I think it's this. No, wait, I need to share it too. Okay. So let me do another thing. Sorry. Okay. And okay, let's just listen to the video and then I'll comment afterwards.
The Gazelle principle is the nucleus of Gazelle's patented engineering and mooring system. The principle itself is characterized by the way it eliminates pitch and balances the platform movement in response to the external forces of wind, waves, and tide. In practical terms, this is achieved through vertical anchor lines that are attached to the seabed, which transfer motion along the anchor lines through the platform down to a counterweight that is attached below. This means that when the platform experiences motion from a wave, that motion is carried through the system, and the platform itself can resist movement and restore its position, acting as a passive ballasting system without the need for complexity or active control systems, all while limiting environmental disturbance to the seabed. This solution, with its unique, modular, scalable design, could be the something the offshore wind industry has been waiting for, and will help to safeguard our energy supply, our climate, and all our futures. Gazelle Wind Power, unlocking the power of wind for the world. To find out more, visit gazellewindpower.com.
Just give me 1 second. So let me just share the other screen, which is okay. So you understand how the technology works. So basically, it's the innovation is in terms of the way that they structure the floating platform for offshore wind platforms. This was a startup that was founded by a serial entrepreneur and former Deloitte advisor, and an expert in hydrodynamics and naval engineering. And it was registered firstly in Ireland, but it was established in terms of the operational headquarters in Viana do Castelo in the north of Portugal in 2024. And why did they do it? Because we have a demonstration site in that area called Aguçadora, where we already have a connection to the energy network, and where we are testing floating offshore wind technology from Ocean Winds. It's a different company, but we already had the infrastructure to test these different types of technologies for this type of sector. So they created this Now Azul project, is their project that is being developed in Portugal right now. And they secured a permit last year to deploy this project in the open sea in this Aguçadora area. And basically they brought in investors. They did a round of investments, and they brought in the EU funds with Portuguese private investors and international investors, so that they could bring this testing of this technology to the Portuguese site. So this is also another way that we are developing the Portuguese ecosystem, by providing these infrastructures and these testing sites that are so relevant in this blue economy space, and that de-risk and that lower the cost of developing innovation and of testing innovation. So having these different infrastructures and test sites available is also a very important driver of growth for the ecosystem. So I think with this I can finish my monologue. So I believe you have now an idea of what is the overall blue economy ecosystem in Portugal, its different drivers, some of the interesting stakeholders that are part of it, and how in a way we developed and are currently developing that ecosystem with different levers and different instruments. And now up to the questions.
Thank you so much for this rich and insightful session, Mr. Gonzalo. We truly appreciate the time and the expertise you have shared with us. So now we move to the question I part. If you have any question, feel free to either turn on your microphone and ask them directly or write them in the chat.
Hi, Gonzalo. Hi, everyone.
Hi,
glad.
Nesreen.
How are you doing?
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this very insightful presentation. It's so interesting to see how the Portuguese startup ecosystem is running and the wonderful job also done by Fórum Oceano with the different programs, tools, also with Azul, I think, which is a very interesting opportunity. I think there are many startups that are present here with us that are also maybe learning to know this tool for the first time. So please, guys, don't hesitate also to check it out. We will check with you. We will share with you the link to Azul so that you can fill your information if you want to be visible there. And also to complement maybe what Shema was saying, I think there are already two questions in the chat that we can already address.
Okay, is there access to the ports ecosystem? What is exactly the interest here? We at Fórum Oceano, all of the different port authorities are our members, so we have direct access to them. All of these different hubs from the Hubble network are located in port areas, and some of the port authorities are parts of the consortiums of these different hubs. So I'd say yes, but I don't know if the question is more specific than this. To install prototypes in the ports. Different answers to different ports. There are some ports that have test beds, so that the access for this type of prototyping is facilitated. Even the ones that do not have test beds, they are very open to working with startups or innovators. We have tried to develop open innovation initiatives with some of the ports with mixed success, but there is some access and some of the ports are more easy than others for this.
I think it's a good question because ports are very much in the intersection of a lot of sectors and can indeed constitute a very, very interesting living lab for startups that are operating in the maritime and energy, but also in transports.
Yes.
Great.
There's another one from Shaima. Does the Blue Invest platform support international startups that align with sustainable innovation and deep tech medical solutions? Medical, I wouldn't say, but anything related with blue economy, I'm not sure about the geography, but that is something that you can easily reach out to the Blue Invest platform and team. And they will very easily answer that question. I'm not sure about startups from outside the European Union.
Wonderful. I think there are also some participants coming from Egypt that are here. Does the platform cover the Egypt is still in the Mediterranean region, so I think the platform can also be a interesting place to figure.
So there are two answers there. So one is our Hub Azul deal room, the platform, the ecosystem platform that I showed. Yes, it covers Egypt and China and Japan and South Africa and Brazil, so all over the globe. So if you have a startup in Egypt, it is very interesting for us if you can, if it's not already part of the platform, if you can register. The other answer is in terms of the Blue Invest. I'm not sure if they work with, again, companies outside Europe, but there are initiatives for the Mediterranean space, for cooperation in the Mediterranean. We are part of WestMed Alliance. That, I believe, also includes Argelia, and so basically there are other types of cooperation initiatives for this.
Wonderful. I see also that maybe we will be back to the chat. There are someone also that is raising the hand. Sid Ahmed, you can intervene, please.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much, sir, for this professional and amazing presentation. Honestly, I was amazed about all what you say. So I want to start about Hub Azul, Portugal. It seems to connect research, aquaculture, and the industry through specialized infrastructure and an aquaculture service catalog. From your perspective, are there existing or planned initiative where solar salt pond or coastal pond in Portugal are used as a test bed for integrated cultivation as Artemia or microalgae such as Dunalilla? And how could an international research like me engage with Hub Basel to explore collaboration or a pilot project in this area?
Okay, very well. So you're asking a lot of very technical questions that I have no idea how to answer that. But yes, there is very much research in many areas of aquaculture, and specifically in seaweed, macro and micro algae. In many different of the hubs that I presented. And there is a lot of interest in collaborating internationally and with international actors and researchers and companies in this space. So the answer is yes. You can send me an email and I will revert to the specific innovation hubs to put you in contact to foster and to develop that collaboration.
Thank you very much. Also, I have another question. I already dropped it in the meeting chat, so I'm gonna read it again for you, sir. So I'm basically working on aquaculture of Artemia and microalgae like Dunalilla in a solar salt pond, with the idea of developing high value product, for example, cosmetic or pharmaceutical extract within Portugal Blue economy innovation ecosystem, including Hub Azul Portugal and its regional hubs. What concrete pathway or program would you recommend for projects that want to connect salt pond aquaculture with the blue biotech and market application?
Yeah, again, yes, there's a lot of interest in collaborating with international players in these areas. There are different avenues to do that collaboration. I would say finding European funded projects or finding European funding for a collaboration project like this could be something that could be I'm not going to say easily, but it's something that can be done. So I would suggest write me an email with a little bit of detail of what you're looking for and what type of collaboration you're looking for, and I can revert you to the specialists in our network that deal with this type of sector and follow the conversation.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. And I'll put my email on the chat if you don't have it yet.
Yeah, it would be a pleasure.
Thank you, Sid Ahmed.
Thank you very much.
Maybe also May just raise the hand. May?
Yeah,
wait,
hello.
it's
Yeah,
not, it's
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. I am May from Egypt. So thank you so much for the professional presentation and for this meeting. And I'd like to ask about if we are a startup or NGO working on environment and climate change. So, and supporting entrepreneur ideas as a think tank in our NGO. So is it possible to cooperate? How is it can cooperate between Azul Hub and in Egypt as a partnership or supporting startup? How is it could be or what's the way? Be
Uh,
just
uh,
and clear.
Again, my suggestion is that you send me an email with a little bit
Okay.
more detail on the work that you do and what type of collaboration you're looking for, and we can follow up on that. We are very much
Cool.
actively looking to collaborate with international actors. I would say there needs to be a strong connection with blue economy, innovation, and the ocean space. So anything only related with sustainability or climate that is not specifically related with blue economy or the ocean economy is something that we have a little bit more difficulty in finding collaboration avenues. But if you're working with the innovation space in blue economy or ocean, that is something that we're interested in
Yes.
collaborating.
Yes, that's nice. Okay. Okay, I will send it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
There's also a question on the chat that is asked by a startup that I know quite well. They are called Martes and they are specialized in the maritime equipment, and they are asking of any possibility to work also with Portuguese accelerator. And yeah, what are the opportunities? Is there programs? And maybe this is also will aliment us in the type of collaboration we can have in the future if there is a strong demand and opportunity also.
Yeah. So I explained a little bit about the accelerators that have been operational in Portugal in the last few years. I can speak for what we are planning to do at Fórum Oceano and with the Azul network. The framework that I showed of promoting the innovation ecosystem, we want that to continue and to be strengthened. So having an accelerator or an open innovation initiative working with international startups in this blue economy space is something that we want to continue to foster. Obviously, we will need to secure the funding for that because we had the funding for this cohort. We don't have the funding yet for the future, but we are working actively on securing that, and I'm sure that in 2027 we will have something. I don't know if it's bigger or smaller, but we will have something happening. I'm not sure exactly what the space of that accelerator will be and what type of challenges or value chains will be approaching. So I'm not sure if it's going to be exactly in your space, but we want to continue working with that. More than that, we have other accelerators working in Portugal. A lot of the ports are starting to get an interest in innovation, and we are seeing some, I wouldn't call them acceleration initiatives or accelerators, but some initiatives in the innovation space. So if you're working with ports, you should keep an eye on what they're doing, and there's a lot of investments in that space. And there are also other initiatives like Portugal Blue Digital Hub or initiatives in other sectors that have a crossing in the blue economy. If you work in maritime, there's a lot of things working in transportation and logistics that also cross with the maritime sector. So yes, I would say there's a lot of avenues for you to in the near medium future work in the Portuguese ecosystem.
Wonderful. So just keep connected on the Fórum Oceano channels to know when the opportunities will be there and for the further program that will be launched to join, maybe. There is also maybe let's go with two final questions. There is Tiziri that is asking in the chat, what do you think are the key factors that make an ecosystem like Portugal successful in attracting and scaling startup in the maritime sector?
So I'd say one thing is we have a very, very good scientific sector, let's call it. The universities and R&D centers in Portugal are very good, and they produce a lot of high quality people and high quality science and technology. The issue that we have had is how to put that science in the market and how to commercialize that science. Having an investment ecosystem that is demanding deal flow and that is demanding projects to invest gives the right incentive to these R&D and academic institutions to start working more towards commercial ventures and not so much writing papers and work close bubble. So once we unlocked that investment ecosystem, things started working more towards creating a commercial market and not just a very good science production, but really working creating startups. So I think having these two for us was very important.
Wonderful. So more applied research
Yes.
to the, yeah, wonderful. Maybe we close with the last question of Shema raising the hand. Shema, can you hear us?
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Thank you for your great teaching. I'm Shima from Algeria. I am a writer and the founder of Startup of Cerebral Disease, a neuro-research startup. I have a quick question if you have answer for me. We are trying to create a blue ocean in the health sector. My question is, what is the main thing you look for to help a startup like ours enter the European market? And thank you so much.
Okay. So again, we are very much focused on blue economy and anything related with ocean technologies. So the health sector, it's a completely different ecosystem that we don't deal with. Although there are a lot of intersection in surprising spaces, namely in blue biotech. There's a lot of developments in pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, etc., that are being applied and that are having consequences in the health ecosystem. But having said this, there is a very dynamic health startup ecosystem in Portugal. I know that the Lisbon ecosystem here is very strong. Look for something called Fábrica dos Unicórnios, and they have just launched a health cluster. Let me try. I'll just in 10 seconds find you the website. Okay. So it's Unicorn Factory. So this. So on that website, that's the Lisbon startup ecosystem, and they have different clusters that they work with. They also work with the health cluster. So there you can find some more information that can help you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. So I think we arrive at the end of our session. Thank you very much, Gonçalo, for your time and for this very precious moment we share together. For sure, I think there will be a recap episode, like a kind of YouTube video that will be released after this content of the session. We'll be sharing with you, and also for the quiet participants that weren't able to connect at the time. But once again, thank you very much, and we hope this kind of elements will also enrich the vision of collaboration we already have, and we are in the middle of many projects, and also maybe enrich the vision of our participants, the startups that have participated here, the representative of the research institution, because you talked a lot about the applied research and this key factor of sustain of a very growing ecosystem. So thank you very much once again, Gonçalo, and hopefully see you very soon with a lot of new projects.
Yes, and again, thank you for inviting me, and it was my pleasure to show you how we are doing the Portuguese blue economy ecosystem. And I agree with you. Initiatives like these are very important to strengthen the cooperation between our ecosystems, and we have been doing that in the past few years. And I think we want to continue that because it has been working very well.
Wonderful. And congratulations for everything. And thank you very much once again for your time. Have a lovely evening, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.